just give me one moment to make sure that I am live streaming, and I have just confirmed that I am. So fantastic. Today, well, hey everyone, I am Jim Gast. I am the Director of AI-Powered Business Development at Vallejo Networks, and I appreciate all of your questions that you have sent in over the last few weeks from my Ask Me Anything emails. By the way, multitasking. And so I'm going to go ahead and answer those questions today. Some of them I'm going to actually demonstrate, and I think you'll like the demonstrations. I do think I should probably check my audio on LinkedIn to make sure that I am literally live on LinkedIn. Hold on a minute, everyone. I kind of feel like that is probably something very important to do. Tap to join. There I am. Good, I'm live. Okay, fantastic. So nevertheless, Microsoft 365 Copilot, I love talking about it. I'm an early adopter of it, and I speak for Microsoft regularly in my nonprofit webinars for Microsoft 365 Copilot. And so this is an opportunity for you to ask questions. I should join my LinkedIn Live. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get additional questions, but please, by all means, put them in the LinkedIn Live in the comments if you have those questions. When I'm done, and it will give me new information to do the next Ask Me Anywhere session for you. So please, please, please do so. Now, Microsoft 365 Copilot is an AI engine that lives within your Microsoft 365. Okay, so imagine your Microsoft 365 is a bubble. Okay, and your email lives there, and your documents in SharePoint, and your documents in OneDrive, and your Teams meetings, and a lot of other data lives in your Microsoft 365 bubble. Okay, Microsoft 365 Copilot is the AI/LLM that lives in your Microsoft 365 environment. And it's very secure because it doesn't send information out to the internet, and it's really aware of the information that you as an individual with a license that's using it has access to. Okay, so keep that in mind. What I'm going to talk about today is not the free version of Microsoft's Copilot, which is called Microsoft Copilot Chat, and that is also in your Microsoft 365. I'm going to talk about the paid version of it, Microsoft 365 Copilot. All right. So go from there. Well, I'm gonna show you the questions I've gotten from people. They're really good questions, and I'm gonna go through some of them and show some examples. All right. So I'm not going to take this in order here. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. So I love this question. Where are we losing time? That's a fantastic question. So an AI should be able to help you do your work, but it should also be able to help you analyze what you do at the same time. All right. So I think that is a great question for my Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'm going to open up this program. This program is called Microsoft 365 Copilot. It is a downloadable version, downloadable application that you can use to query your Microsoft 365. Now I'm going to go to a new chat right here in it. Right. This is a new chat. Couple of things I'm going to show you, and this will help the people I just got off of a conference call with. This is work and this is web. Now, because I have the paid version of Microsoft 365 Copilot, not chat, I have work, and it has within its realm of knowledge my data in my Microsoft 365 that I have access to. Okay, and it can query on that. So when I'm asking a question about my work, it's looking at that data. Now it's looking at more than just that data, but it's also you're looking at information about you. And here's what I'm going to show you. When I want to use this, okay, work mode, it's also accessing the internet to help answer questions. Well, since I'm asking it, where am I losing time? I don't want it to look at the internet. I only want it to look at what I'm doing in Microsoft 365. Okay. So I'm going to take that question and I'm going to paste it into this program, and I'm going to say, where am I losing time? Where are we? I'm going to say I. Okay, where am I, not am. By the way, typos are okay. It knows I'm a stupid human. Where am I losing time? Boom. And I'm going to ask it, Where am I losing time? And so what it's going to do, I got web search off, so the responses will not include web-based insights, only my work insights, right? And so it's going to look at the type of data that I create, my emails, my documents, things that I do on a regular basis. Look at this. It's coming back and it says, hey, you do these things. You've created these emails. You've created these documents, and your time losses, hey, I can see it immediately. You're doing large hold blocks of things on your calendar that are keeping you from getting other things done. And here's why. Why is this a leak of time? It holds real-time scheduling flexibility for other people to put things on my calendar. So when I put a block of time for me to work on something, that's justified to me, but it does keep other people from getting into my calendar. Here we go. Overlapping in internal and external meetings. I do a lot of those, right? And I have an internal meeting. Maybe I put a hold and I allow an internal meeting. So it's looking at that. It says, hey, you got to be fully present. Here's what it's saying. You're not fully present. I think it doesn't matter what it says here, but it's analyzing me by the habits and data that I create and the things that I do to help me understand where I'm losing time. I think it's fantastic, right? And so if you run that for yourself, you could run it for your organization and help your organization figure it out. Then it's actionable, okay? And so one question to go further, and I can quantify it. Do you want me to calculate exactly how many hours per week? Okay, no, and I can say make me an action plan and go, right? And so instead of just asking the question, now I can let it make it an actionable thing that I'm researching. Here's your objection. Here's your action plan, Jim. Okay, and then I can make it into a document or whatever, or I can implement different things in my calendar. I think it's a great question. If you like that action plan, do me a favor, make comment. Action plan was good, like that. Not action plan, but losing time good, something like that. Okay, here's another one. I like this one. Now, I'm not sure if the person really understands what a Microsoft Copilot agent is for their question, but I'm going to use that as an opportunity to explain what an agent is. So Microsoft 365 is a generalist, okay? I'm sorry, Microsoft 365 Copilot is a generalist. Where I put this right now on this screen, this place where I'm just chatting with Copilot, it knows everything, okay? Literally, it knows all the data that I deal with and everything on the internet. That would make it a generalist. What if I want to make it a subject matter expert? I can narrow its brain down by creating what's called an agent, okay? And these are my agents over here. There's a number of ways to create agents. Today's not about learning how to do that. But what if I wanted an agent to be very specific about the company handbook? Everybody always has questions about our company policies. So I created an agent about our company handbook. It's an old handbook. It's not real, okay? And I said, I want you to only know about this handbook and this handbook only. So if I were to ask about what other companies are doing, it would say, well, I don't have that knowledge, okay? So where should an agent take work off my plate? This is an agent. I've also created a webinar asset agent for me, an asset creator that makes webinar presentations, because I do a lot of webinars, you can tell right here, okay? So I do a lot of webinars, a lot of presentations. And, instead of me creating the login web page, the invitation emails, the follow-up emails, the presentation itself, the details of the subject matter, the cheat sheets that I need to help me do the presentation, I created an agent I called it Webinar Asset Creator to make all those things for me. It took a 4-hour process down to maybe like 30 minutes. Okay, so that's what an agent does. So the question, where should an agent take work off my plate, isn't a question for an agent. It is a question for my Microsoft 365 Copilot, but only internally again, okay, because I want it to look at my habits, all right? Now, if I want it to be more general, I can include web research. So I'm going to just say no web research. Where should an agent take work off my plate? Boom. Now it's going to come up with from the data that it's looking at and say, Jim, based on what you're doing and what I'm seeing, you could make an agent do this for you over and over and over again, right? That's a really, really deep thought for it. So it's going to take a little bit longer, okay? But orchestration of work off your plate, not the judgment of work, right? Rule of thumb. And so I like the general answer, okay? Great general answer. And I think it's important that it's giving a general answer, but hey, we want this to be actionable, okay? Here's a lot of things it says you do, it thinks you do, sales infrastructure glue, prep, not performance, you know, so on and so on and so on. And I'm going to say translation, status translation across teams. Okay, I love that. Okay, so and here, what can an agent do? What am I the bottleneck for? And it gives me another way of thinking it, right? And so it says, based on, we should map one role you hate doing, okay, and build an agent out of that, okay? And so if it is creating proposals, you know, creating, you know, emails, right? Something I do on a regular basis, I could create an agent to do that. And I can say, help me, okay, based on what you told me, I think it's best if we start with this. Help me understand how to create an agent for this. And we'll help you, give you the instructions on how to build an agent for that. So how can an agent save you time and take work off your plate? Ask Copilot and then create an actionable process with that. I hope that's not just ethereal. You know, I'm not showing you how to make an agent, but I'm trying to get you to learn that you can get Copilot to help you make an agent. Let's just say I got a person sitting here right next to me, and for everything in the world that I don't know how to do, I just turn to that person. I say, how do I do this? And they tell me how to do it and then help me do it, right? That's what Copilot is. It's that little person sitting next to you that's brains bigger than anything I ever thought about. And it can tell me everything and anything I want to do. And I can actually go do it with its assistance. That's what it does. So that's how an agent would work. Let's go back to my questions here. Okay. Could agents, let's go ahead and talk about this. How can I use Microsoft 365 for Microsoft 365 Copilot for business development, lead gen, and sales outreach? You're gonna love this. By the way, every time I click this blue thing up here, it's a new, I'm brainwashing it. I have a completely different brain now for my Microsoft 365, right? I'm gonna paste the question, and how can I use you? We'll give it, you know, some feeling of that I value it as an entity, right? Use you for business development, lead gen, and sales outreach. Now, be specific to the job I do at Vallejo Networks. Okay, need an idea? Ask it, right? How do I do that? I want to save some time. And so it's going to come back and say, well, you know, we can actually do it, make it send out emails and create email lead gen emails. We can help you craft those lead gen emails for the highest response rate. In sales outreach, you can ask me, when do I need to reach out for the next sales opportunity? Okay. And so what it's doing here first is it's telling me this is what I understand you do, because it learns about you and your data from your data. Okay. From a business development, offer and market intelligence and upstreams, okay, tuning marketing signals into offers. You feed me prospect quotes. I produce service positioning language. That's how it can help me, right? And so as an example, I meet with people and I record my meetings in Microsoft Teams, and then I take those transcriptions, and in Microsoft Teams, Copilot exists, and I say, okay, summarize this for that person so that they can present it to others, including their leadership, to help them understand what we're trying to propose. That's how I can get it to help me do business development, right? By utilizing the resources and saving me steps. So instead of crafting up an email myself, it's going to take that transcript and it will do it based on my request, and then I can start to hone it further. Another example, vertical and AI narratives, right? You operate across legal, nonprofit, manufacturing, automotive, aftermarket. How does it know that? That's what the type of data I create, the type of questions that I ask it, right? And so translate the same AI capability into 4 different vertical panes. So I can make verticals, AI verticals, and say, hey, based on legal, based on nonprofit, these are the examples that you could use in your business with Microsoft 365 Copilot, and make it very specific to them. So now I've asked it again, a question. How can you help me with business development? Okay, and sales outreach. Now let's talk about, here's one very specific to a nonprofit. I like this one. Okay, we're going to brainwash it. Okay, I'm going to paste it in here so I can kind of see the question again. So patient advocacy outreach to patients and individual. Give me ideas on how I can use you again, or I should say this, okay, make it an object instead. Use you for patient outreach. Now, I have no data in my Microsoft 365 regarding this, okay? You would when you ask this question, so you might not want internet information. I do, okay? So give me ideas on how I can use you for these things. And it's going to go to the internet. It's going to first search in my stuff. I probably have some documents in there from a nonprofit demo I did or something like that. But it's going to use that. It's going to go at the internet, pull other information and look at what other people are doing, look at blog articles and look at a whole bunch of different stuff to come in here and say, here's a practical, non-fluffy way you can use me. It's even getting a sense of identity now for itself, for patient outreach. Make research opportunities understandable without dumbing them down. Problem, patient advocates. People do not want to help research, okay? But consent form protocols and studies and descriptions are overwhelming. How to use them, right? Translate it, create multiple versions of it. Why this matters. Scale one-to-one outreach without losing empathy. And I could take one of these things and I can make it actionable, okay? And I'm going to say again, now make an action plan, step-by-step action plan to do this. By the way, I never typed this well. And so because I'm asking it, because it now looked at it and found this, hey, okay, now let's go down this rabbit hole. Okay, this is written for you step by step, set the guardrails, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't really matter what it says, but now I'm utilizing it to help me do a job. This person probably wanted me to give them a very specific example, but instead what I did here is I said, Copilot, this is a general question. Help me understand this general question. Now, with some of these things in here, these things that you gave me as options, now I want to dive deeper into this, okay? And here it is. And when I'm all done with it, by the way, look how far it's going. When I'm all done with it, I can say, create a PowerPoint presentation, create a Word document on this, create some emails to get the team involved in this kind of stuff. Wow, it's going, wow. This is a step-by-step, this is a really step-by-step, right? And so we could take this plan, put it in Word, look at it, review it, make sure it fits our organization, and go do this, right? Can AI help us do each of these steps? There's probably a lot of steps in here that Microsoft Copilot can help us do. And so this is just the start. The possibilities are endless when it comes to this. All right, so I can turn this into a visual outreach playbook, okay? I can do a demo script showing this live advocacy organizations, or I can do a pilot SOP usable. Wow, I like that visual outreach playbook, right? I'm all about playbooks. And I'm going to say, because it doesn't give me as one of the options here, okay? I'm going to say, do the visual outreach playbook. Boom. And then I review the details of it. If I didn't want to go right to the document or PowerPoint, I could have honed in further and further and further. Yeah, I like that. But it's what it's doing now is it's creating this over here in what's called the notebook, and a notebook that I can then just export right to Microsoft Word. There it is. Look at all that. Love it. Look at all that. That is just amazing if you ask me. The immense amount of data that it's pulling in. Again, this is not yours yet. Okay, It's not plagiarism. Don't misunderstand. I'm saying it does not fit your organization completely yet. I gave it one sentence. My organization needs a lot more detail than that. Okay, now make it for an organization that helps patients that have mental challenges or physical challenges or whatever, right? And so I would hone it in further. This is not the final product. Do not think to yourself that it's the final product. You need to make it what you need it to be, but it is that soup starter to help you get there. And once you've narrowed it down, either here or in Microsoft Word, you export it to a Microsoft Word doc. Very, very simple to do. Okay. Hope these questions are really helpful. I hope this is giving you an idea of what is my biggest busy work. I think the losing time question example kind of answers that. But if I wanted to ask it, what's my biggest busy work? Yeah, Jim, you're doing a lot of emails that just don't seem to fit what you're supposed to be doing, right? All right, here's a good one. I love this. I love the long questions because generally the longer questions are more descriptive of what we want to do. And the more descriptive I give my Microsoft Copilot, the better the results are going to come back to me. I always have many items to follow up on or requesting status updates on. I need a way to follow up on to keep items from falling through the cracks, right? So let's go back. I'm going to close this notebook. I'm going to brainwash my Copilot again. Help me with this tracking initiative. Initiative. I don't care if I misspell it. Okay. All right. As a director, I always have too many things to follow up on. How do I keep things from going through the cracks? This will probably be more principle based, right? Okay, rather than practical based. I mean, it might and by the way, I haven't turned off the internet, so it might be looking at, getting things done processes or Covey processes or all kinds of time management processes and tracking processes. It may come back and even tell me to keep a printed copy on, it may printed copy or something like that. It may do that, right? But closed loop follow up. I like this. Nothing you ask for can disappear without. Yeah, these are principles, right? I know some of these principles, okay? The core problem observed in your data follow-ups live in email replies, not in systems. It should be in your CRM, Jim. Okay, status is requested, but no forced checkpoints exist. That's interesting. What do you mean by that? Now I would ask you what it means by that. Okay, action items are captured in meetings and then they're retracked manually or forgotten. Not necessarily, but yes, it's done. Okay, we put those initiatives in our CRM. It's just not seeing into the CRM right now because it doesn't have access to that. You personally become the reminder engine. Ooh, that's a really bad thing. Why am I the reminder? Here, let's investigate that one a little bit, right? Okay. Why? And this is really telling, fortunately. Am I the reminder engine? Explain. And now it's going to give me some real examples, okay, as to why I'm the reminder engine. And then I'll probably ask it next and kind of go down the flow. Hey, how can I make that so that I'm not the reminder engine? Where is the reminder engine? Why isn't it in a system that's reminding you? Why don't you have a power automate flow, right? You're the person that keeps the ownership by default. Oh, wow, that's a slam on me. The reason is because I won't let go of ownership. It's saying, fair enough, right? A lot of personal insights. I'm like, I'm kind of having an awakening here. It's not fair that you guys get to see this happening live. Okay, follow-up is being treated as a message and not an object. These are some interesting ideas. I'm going to come back to this one later on. By the way, one thing you should know is when you use this Microsoft 365 Copilot application, your conversations are tracked over here. And so I can go back to any one of them, really, really far back, and I can actually search in them. I don't remember what conversation it was, but when do we talk about the off-road aftermarket mode automotive manufacturer stuff, right? And I can query it also, and it uses Copilot to help you find that stuff. So we're at 28. I'm going to do one more example. Okay. Logging phone calls and text messages, old school physical phone server and grouchy support guy from Telco, the Depot, that will not explore code that could help us email incoming call details. Some text platform that does not support an exportable Excel CSV log sheet. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you is I don't think that Microsoft 365 Copilot could help with that because this data does not live in Microsoft 365. Okay, but I'm going to reach out to this person and talk to them about some options on how we can maybe get that data to live in Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'd love Copilot to be able to take chunks of information that come in from emails and put them into a table, Word, or Excel. Okay. All right. I'm just going to take that. Okay. And I'm going to paraphrase it. And you're going to love this. I forget the person that submitted this. Okay. Make a table of my emails, my important emails, I don't care, from today that includes time, name, sender, description, summary, and suggested action. Okay. Boom. I think that's enough. Again, the more you give it, the better the result you're going to get. And because I did that, it's going to look at my emails and it's going to mark them, something I marked important or flagged or, so on and so forth, right? Based on I said important email. So maybe that's looking at an email that was flagged important by somebody that sent it to me. Okay. Maybe there's not any in here. Here's a clean. There we go. I love this. Look at that. So if you had a question, how you summarize your emails, and you can look at it in tabular format, here you go. Okay. And it'll give you, and when it's finished, I'll show you. But imagine how much time it would actually take to actually go through every one of these emails instead of just putting it together for you in a table. That is so much time. By the way, this is one of those repeatable processes that I could put in an agent, and then I could have the agent do it for me. And all I would have to do is come over to the agent and ask the same question. Do my emails for today. Do my emails for last week, please. Right. By the way, here's the recommended actions that it would take that you suggested. So whether it's right or wrong, I mean, it's up to you. But now we can do some other things with it. Draft an email to Derek, blah, 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 right? Or something else. All right, I saw that. Now draft a response. So everyone, I'm out of time. I'm over by 1 minute, but I hope this was helpful. Please like and comment. I think that's very important to me. If you have additional questions and you would like to know something else, put it in the comments here. It doesn't matter if it's months and months later on down the road. Put the questions here so that I can answer them in a future Ask Me Anything. In addition to that, if you are looking at Microsoft 365 Copilot and implementing it and want some assistance and want to work with a managed service provider that not only can be your help desk and your support system, but also help you grow into new technologies that will help your business grow further, then reach out to me. I am the AI-powered director of new business development here at Vallejo Networks. My email address, jim@vallejonetworks.com. But if you're seeing this video, the chances are really good that you can see my LinkedIn and you can message me here on LinkedIn. Thanks for your time today, everyone. Hope it was very valuable, and I would really love your feedback. Take care.